Now, truthfully, I probably could have reported quite a while ago that Darksiders, the Warmastered Edition for the Nintendo Switch, was worth getting. But selfishly, I couldn't stop myself from continuing to play this game. This is a game that I keep going back to on every flight that I'm on, and I've been on a lot of flights recently, and I've been playing it at home as well, and I have to tell you that this is as enticing and addictive as the original Darksiders was when it originally came out for the PS3 and Xbox 360.
You can sense it.
It's kind of a, if you don't know, it's kind of like a blend between a God of War experience and a Zelda experience, so that's just music to my freaking ears. I love third-person action-adventure games like this with a little bit of role-playing sprinkled in like Pixie Dust, and that's exactly what this is. You play one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. This was the first of the Darksiders. Hopefully we're going to get the quadrilogy. I know that Darksiders as a brand is still alive and well. Thank you, THQ Nordic. You play as the first of the four horsemen of the Apocalypse War, and you pick up all kinds of awesome weapons, giant scythes and glaives. There's that Krull reference again for everybody out there. You get this sort of bladed weapon boomerang thing. It's awesome. I love those things. Everybody that makes video games apparently has seen Krull, and they know what the glaive is. You get one of those in this game. You get, of course, giant swords, and you've got lots of puzzles to kind of figure out, and tombs and dungeons to kind of explore, and power-ups to pick up. You make yourself more powerful with your armor, and your offensive abilities, and your defensive capabilities. Mark Hamill's got a voice in this freaking game.
I'll remember that.
You've got all kinds of giant demons and creatures and, knighted golems and just grotesqueries to slice and dice and rip apart, because this was not a game afraid to get a little gory and bloody and violent, with a nice tip of the hat to all of the fine work in the God of War franchise.
There are things even you should fear, horsemen.
It's hella fun. It's just crazy fun. One of the smart things that they did with this game originally was give it kind of a comic book, cartoony style to it. I've heard it kind of compared to like a World of Warcraft kind of look. That meant that the game could stand the test of time. They didn't try to go for sort of a natural realism or a photorealism. They went for something that you would flip through comic book pages. Joe Madeira is one of the people that helped to design this. He was one of the founders of Vigil Games, which has gone away, but Joe Madeira is still making games. And, the Darksiders franchise is still continuing. I wasn't blown away by Darksiders 3, but I was blown away that it was back, and there definitely is some fun in Darksiders 3, just to go back to that one. This game is a great introduction to the franchise, and it's incredibly addictive and enjoyable in its own right. It did get, one-upped by Darksiders 2, which improved on almost all of the stuff, and I don't think you can get Darksiders 2 yet on the Nintendo Switch, but presumably it's going to come. I'm grateful for this work. I like this franchise. I like this escape. I like this dystopian devastation of an Earth just in ruins that we have to traverse, and broken subways and destroyed buildings with trees and stuff all blasting through them, and just these enormous winged beasts that you have to grapple on, and it's like a war between angels and demons. It's an epic escape.
Hellgod, to arms!
Everything's been enhanced a little bit. It's not going to blow your mind visually because it's a bit of a dated game to begin with, but it's also running on the Switch, but it's also been ported to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's going to look better elsewhere. So that's not really why you're going to want to look at this thing on the Switch. To have that console experience in a to-go form is just incredible. And it feels so much more so when you're on a flight and you've got this little screen, but it's just this like huge cinematic joy coming at you, We don't really have that. There's nothing quite this scale on mobile, and the Vita didn't really get to this height. It's better on the small screen than it is on the big screen. On the big screen you can kind of pick it apart, and the frame rate feels a little squandered. On the big screen in 2019, it's like, we're beyond this, but still, it's still impressive.
He moves his legions against you.
It's absolutely a must pick up for Nintendo Switch fans that love games like Zelda and love games like God of War and have been kind of missing a little bit more of a traditional experience. This is like traditional God of War and traditional Zelda. It's not like Breath of the Wild or the new God of War. And I love it so. I think it's fantastic. And so THQ Nordic, I say to you, please bring Darksiders 2 and Darksiders 3 to the Nintendo Switch, and hopefully you'll tune Darksiders 3 so it's a little more polished, a little less janky than it was when I last visited it. But this is a great franchise. Definitely don't sleep on this one. I'm going to give Darksiders Warmastered Edition an 8.5 out of 10.